Hello YouTube, HBZ here today, and it's been a while. Sorry I had to skip a video, but I've kind of lost the footage and we have to redo everything. So, many of you probably read the topic about this, and I'm sure I mentioned it a few times in my live streams and that, but I tried my hand for the last 4 days trying multiple methods of retrobriting my electronics to try and bring them back to normal. So if you don't know what retrobriting is, have you ever wondered why perfectly white, good plastic electronics turns yellow over time? And by yellow I mean this hideous, awful, smoky nicotine yellow. Some of it goes like an orangey sort of thing, others go brown. It's basically the bromine or bromide that's actually in the plastic. It's a flame retardant and it's normally brown in color. And when you buy your electronics, there's none of that stuff on the surface, but due to heat and humidity and things, that stuff starts sweating out of the plastic and it turns the plastic this yellowy, brownish, putrid color. It's really bad. Luckily for us, there's been quite a few very clever people who knows a lot more about chemistry than I do that's figured out that you can take this off with peroxide. The problem in South Africa is actually finding peroxide cream, believe it or not. I knew about this for like 2 years already. And initially the Retrobright formula was a do-it-yourself thing where you use pure, well, peroxide, diluted peroxide and mix in your own chemicals, and eventually it was figured out that you don't need to use it, you just need peroxide cream. Unfortunately, in South Africa, trying to track down peroxide cream in itself was extremely difficult. The hairdressers didn't want to sell to me for some reason. I don't know if peroxide is used in bad things. Maybe that's a clue. So eventually what I discovered is you can get peroxide in these small little bottles. So that's it there. You can buy these at Pick n Pay and those places. It's 100 milliliters, it's 3%. And it's a small little bottle like that. Now imagine if we want to peroxide or retrobright a big console like that computer I just showed you there. This isn't going to last you. So for a while, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just never thought about searching on Bidorbuy for peroxide cream. And the other day I looked at it, and there was one shop that sells beauty products, and I'll link it down below. And here's what they got: peroxide cream, the good stuff. It's a very weird consistency. It looks like something that comes out of men. If you know what I mean. I can't say it on YouTube because then I'm not advertiser friendly, but basically it's this stuff, and it's nasty stuff. You don't want to get this on your hands or your fingers for too long. As long as you wash it off, it's fine. But you can buy this, and I think this was like 100 rand. So in dollar terms, that's like $7 odd. You can get one of these, and they post it to you, they courier it to you. Now the general consensus is you brush this on your cleaned electronics and you stick it in the sun with some cling film over it, and Bob's your uncle. It turns white, but it turns out it's not that easy. I'll get that into for you as soon as we're done with the main video. I'll talk about why it's not that easy with the South African heat and climate here. It's a little bit different. And unfortunately, with any product, especially Retrobright, you will never get 100% white again. You'll never get a perfect color machine. So, without further ado, let me show you what my process was. Okay, so the first step that we have to do here is we're currently in my little bathroom. So the first step we have to do is we have to get this clean, because you can see there's a lot of dust and stuff. The back I'm not too fussed about. We're going to clean the front only, and then after I'm done with the Retrobright, I'll give it a wash with the shower, and we'll clean the back and the other parts to it. But we just want to get it as clean as possible, and this needs some hot water. And be sure to have your helping cat. I don't know if you guys saw that on the picture. You'll also notice that I'm wearing white, and the reason why is with the peroxide in a minute, white will probably not fade. So a little bit of normal everyday dishwasher liquid. I'm just going to add a little bit of the accelerator. This is Vim. Vim isn't normally my preferred accelerator. I like Easy Off Bang, but and then we just have to thoroughly dry this, which I will do in a little bit, and then I'll meet you guys outside and then we'll start the second process and we'll see how it goes. Right, so we are now outdoors and I'm going to start covering this. Now you'll see that the sun is starting to rise. It's quite early in the morning still. Okay, I'll say that it's about, what time is it anyway? It's quite early. It's about 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock more or less. So the sun is just about to rise. It's the middle of winter. So we're getting the sun coming up nice early in the morning. And I'm just quickly prepping this because I want to get as much of this in the plastic as possible. We might do a few layers of wrap because wrap is cheap. Unfortunately, there's also quite a few snakes here this time of the day and spiders and stuff, so maybe we'll do a viral video at the same time. But I'm going to keep this like this because I want most of the sun to be on there. I should actually, no, I should turn this around. I should go around to about there. And here is the magical liquid. Peroxide cream. I got this from Bidorbuy. This is supposed to be 15% or quite strong, I think it was. I got my applicator. For the applicator I decided I'm going to use like a little spongy thing, but I don't mind it if it disintegrates or if I can't use it ever again. And I'm using a cap from some Doom. Doom is a very popular anti-pesticide in South Africa. Guys know how much I love Doom. So we're just going to apply this as liberally as possible. That'll eat away at my precious table. Right, so that was my first attempt and that was my first process. And what I retrobrighted was this computer front panel. So the reason I chose this is a lot of you saw it in my last video when I did that mystery package. So all of you know what this looks like. It used to be extremely yellow, but this used to be a white case, and I don't know with the white balancing on the camera how this will look to you, but it looks pretty darn good. And the only thing that I did differently is instead of keeping it in the shade, I kind of moved it into the South African sun, and I thought everything's perfect because look how good this came out. And of course, being my first test and it being perfect, I immediately grabbed the next thing because I wanted to do something a bit more expensive. So I grabbed my Super Nintendo, and on camera you guys are probably screaming at me, that looks perfect, that looks amazing. No. The first thing that I did there, I put it in cling film, I put it in the sun, and the South African sun is harsh, guys. I would not recommend using that method. Okay, put it in the sun, and it had all of these sort of strange marks. It looked like watery, sort of stripy marks on there, which it really shouldn't have. And devastated when that happened, because really I wanted this just to kind of work, just to have it done, and for me to move on to better and other things. Because let's face it, I don't want to sit with the same thing forever. So what the conclusion was, in 3 days of constant work, constantly trying to tweak it and figure out what's causing this. The South African sun is too harsh for coloured plastics. If you have a white plastic like this, you can stick it in the sun, that's fine, that'll go perfectly white. Bob's your uncle, you're done. Coloured plastics have something different in the chemicals that they use, and I'm fairly sure that was what caused my issues, because what would happen is, as soon as I washed off, I actually took this and I washed off the Retrobright or the Peroxide, I'll have a perfect console. It'll look fantastic. I'll show you a spare video clip just now. Okay, so here's the problem that I've been experiencing. And as you can see, this is darn near perfect. Now within the next hour or so, it's going to start creating like these dark, cloudy spots all over the case. And as you can see, it looks perfectly fine. But as soon as you physically sat it in the sun for like half an hour, you got this marbling effect like this. And to combat this, unfortunately, there's no way to get rid of this. This will always be there, because what I concluded on that's happening here is the Retrobright absorbs differently into the plastic. Initially I thought it was the places where the cling film didn't cover. So second Retrobright should have sorted that out, because then everything gets the same exposure. Didn't. Taking the cling film away and just painting on Retrobright and adding Retrobright to it didn't help it either. And that then boiled down to what my solution was and what I would recommend for coloured plastics. If you absolutely must do something that's not perfectly white, that's like a grey or blue or different coloured plastic, is to take the Retrobright, paint it on, and keep it at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock when there's some sunlight coming in, but not a lot. Somewhere in your house where there's some shade but there's sunlight, that the room is pretty bright, you paint it on, okay, and you have it sit there, and you keep on painting it on as it dries off. Don't use cling film, keep on adding it, and in the evening then just paint it on again before you go to sleep. In the morning take it off, and then what you do is boiling hot water. Okay, you're going to lower this in, okay, scrub off all of the Retrobright. You need to get all of it off in the hot water. Hot water, I use a little bit of dishwasher soap, but you guys can use whatever works for you, and you scrub it off. Let this sit until that water gets cool. Drain the water, add more cold water, put it back in, because you want to set the temperature. You want to make sure that that chemical process stops. And then you take it out, and mostly it'll look a lot better. Those marks will still be there if you actually sit and you have the right lighting conditions and you look at it closely. Those marks will still be there, unfortunately. But if you do that right from the start, I've got a theory that won't be a problem. If you do use that system, you will not get this thing where it absorbs at different rates on the plastic. I'm 100% sure that was due to the actual temperature, the sunlight being too hot. You don't actually need UV. Even though there's a little bit of UV in the start, this will still whiten it. It will still get rid of it. And I tested at the back of this machine, and it came out perfect. No marks came back, anything. So that's my suggestion with coloured plastics. And just to end with, it just shows you that this is possible. You can do this, and you just need to find the right stuff. Is it worth doing? If you're going to do this, what I would just suggest is decide one day or one weekend a year. Take all of your stuff outside, Retrobright all of it. Wash it off, get it sorted, because you know what happens a year from now? that bromide or bromine or whatever boils back through the plastic and it goes yellow again. So this is a constant thing. So choose one day a year and do all of your electronics. I'm going to do mine soon, and of course I'll video document it, and you guys will be able to see what's going on. So yeah, I highly recommend you do that. And that's all from me, HP Zeta. Until next time, cheerio. Oh, and by the way, if you guys want to support my channel, there's always links at the bottom of things that I need, things that I would like to make videos on, things, electronics that I would help me make repair videos and stuff. So if you want to help, that's how you do it. And as always, keep nice. It's me, HP Zeta, signing off. Until next time, cheerio. Okay, and basically I started with the process at about 8:30. Okay, well 8 o'clock I was done covering it, but it was outside and there wasn't much sun that side, so after about an hour and a half I moved it to somewhere where there is a lot more sun, and you can see that is a remarkable difference. I can still see some yellow there and stuff, and you'll notice that just about all of the peroxide is gone. It's evaporated off and it's like a bit dry and stuff, so I don't have to worry about getting this stuff in the drain. Whatever peroxide is left, it's going to be so little. So I'm just going to take this out, and what I'll do is I'll stick this in the shower in a little bit. There's a little bit of peroxide still here and there, but I think most of the peroxide is actually off. It's not on there anymore. Yeah, most of this is dry. But there's not enough on here for me to panic about drain or anything. I'll just take this and throw this away. And quickly see if I can get some of this off. Just with some hot water. I'll use the same sponge again, but I'll use the back of the sponge because we don't want to scrape. And then afterwards I'll stick it in there and I'll wash the rest of it off. I just want to get it to a point where I can show you guys how it looks like. Neutralize some of this, and what I'll do as well is I'll use some of the Vim, because that'll neutralize some of the acid in the peroxide, because peroxide is acidic by its nature, but the peroxide isn't as evil chemical as some people go on about online. It's not a great chemical, but it's not that evil either. You can see there, that's a day-night difference, you know. That's white again. Yes, it's still like yellow around and stuff, but that's a huge difference. I mean, this side is a bit whiter, and then that's a bit darker, and that's the darkest. But this side I literally put into the sun, this side up. But that's for 2 hours work, and considering that this was very, very yellow, that didn't turn out too bad. So I'll quickly do the end video. I might do 1 or 2 more things, but I'll quickly do the end video and then we can get back to it.